impact alert, and we are tracking, well, I want to say remnants, but Invest 93L, which is that somewhat tropical wave that's pushing across the state right now. In fact, the majority of the rain with this is now moving through Citrus County and areas just to the north up towards Gainesville. And by about 10 to 11 o'clock tonight, it will be out into the Northeast Gulf and moving further west and away from our area. So weather is going to be a whole lot quieter today as we get going into the afternoon and evening hours, the rest of the afternoon. But we do have some storms to track. We do have a flood watch in effect for most of our area until 11 o'clock. And we're talking about all of this over on our 10 Tampa Bay Plus streaming app. So you want to join me over there. We'll be doing it for about 10 minutes. And then after that, we'll be back on our streaming app at 4:30 this evening. If we don't see you there, we'll see you at 5 o'clock on 10 Tampa Bay right here on CBS. All right, everybody on streaming, thanks for joining us here. Get a little situated here. We are, tracking the system now. Things are actually moving pretty quickly today, and it looks like it's actually a whole lot better for us out there. We do have some rain. Let's start with Invest 93L right now, and it's you can see the green blob, if you will. That's most of the moisture associated around the center, but it's actually off to the south and the west of the center. But look at that right turn that it took. Look at this track. It really didn't make a right turn like that. What it did is just the center reforms, and so the center was kind of down in here. And you'll notice at the very beginning, the center's right in here, but then look, it kind of spins up over here. And so then they just retract the center once they find another one that takes over. And this is usually what happens when you have developing tropical systems like this, kind of unorganized. It's trying to get organized, but you're going to get a few different low-level centers there. And so that's why it looks like it did. Now, the one that we have now does appear that it is onshore, okay, right in there. And in fact, take a look at this. You can see a little bit better with our visible satellite. And you can see that it looks like it went in right near St. Augustine, at least the center of that rotation, that little swirl, okay? And you can see it right in here. Follow this. Actually, let me get a little bit closer here. And there it goes right there. Right in here. There it is, there it is, there it is. And now it's just to the west of Interstate 95, okay? Right in this area in here. Now, take a look where most of the moisture is. It's off to the south and to the southwest of it. And that actually fits right over top of Citrus and Hernando County at this particular time. Parts of Pasco as well. But that's where most of it will be. And over the next 2 to 3 hours, it'll be slowly pushing through the area. Going to have some light to moderate rainfall. Totals will total up around 2 to 3 inches of rain, especially up towards Citrus County, a little less as you work your way down towards Hernando County. But it's not terribly heavy. It's not flash flood type of rain at this particular point. We'll watch it because there have been some thunderstorms embedded in there. And that would basically give you a better chance to see some heavier downpours if you get some of that lightning that you see there. And that's been the case up here towards the Inglis area and just to the north and west there of Crystal River. So that's some heavier downpour that's coming up through Inglis and Tidewater. But you get back out towards Citrus County, down towards Crystal River. You can see some heavier rain coming in. Notice these cells here up to the north of Denellen. Those are going to put down some decent rainfall, but the overall trend is that they're weakening just a little bit. So this is just steady, moderate rainfall for Hernando and Citrus County. And in fact, it's not even all of Hernando. It looks like it's drying up before it gets to the county line. Now down south, today is a little bit different because we're not going to have the widespread rain in the Tampa Bay area. However, what we do see, there was one in Pinellas, there's one down here in southeastern Hillsborough, Manatee, Carrollwood almost. Those will be slow movers. They're kind of stuck in an area where they're not really moving much. And you can see the way the atmosphere is kind of rotating around it. You know, we've got something coming here. And this area right in here is really just light steering, very light steering. And so the problem then becomes if you get showers and storms to develop, then you end up getting them to be very slow movers, and then they can rain out quite a bit of rain right over top of you. So this is out here in the Waimama area. It's actually north of 674. It's moving further away, but that's a pretty good little thunderstorm that'll drift off towards Welcome. You see these outflow boundaries here, these little green lines that are out ahead of it. Those will help to form a few more showers and storms. There's one sitting out here, another one coming here. So I think this Baird area, southwest Polk County, I think we'll be looking at some developing storminess here in just a little bit. Nothing major. Severe weather threat is low today, but we do have a flood watch, and I'll show you that. Pinellas had a shower over there earlier, but now things have dried up quite a bit. A couple sprinkles in the area. Get over towards, well, east of Carrollwood now. You're getting up towards Busch Gardens area. That storm is moving off towards the south and the east, close to Thunderstorm, but I think it ends up a little bit more probably down that 75 I-4 junction more than anything else, okay? Just a little bit to the south of there. Down south, not as much, but we do have some pretty good little storms to deal with. What we do see, some of these will be drifting northward into DeSoto County, Southern Highlands County, kind of getting there now. You can see far eastern Sarasota and into southern Manatee County, a few slow movers. So again, there's some lightning out there. We always have to be watching out for that. But because they're slow movers and there's so much moisture in the atmosphere, we'll be watching for a little bit heavier than normal rainfall. Now, as this moves away, this is going to continue to move off in this direction, okay? Look at the flow that's sitting out here. There's a southeast wind flow, obviously, on the backside, right? The winds go counterclockwise around these lows, okay? So we're going to be stuck in this wind as we get into tomorrow. And that keeps us very warm, keeps us muggy, so a lot of moisture in the atmosphere. And then as we see showers and storms develop, just like what you see, watch down here. You see how they're developing here and then they drift off to the north and the west? Well, tomorrow we'll get more of this further up towards Tampa. All right, so we're going to get some tonight, but we'll get more, I think a little bit more as we get into tomorrow afternoon. The system itself, the center, will be out here over the Gulf or maybe even closer to land. But that's going to be our particular threat at this time. Here's the rainfall estimate so far. This is just estimated by the radar, and you can see some of those heavier numbers over there towards Cape Canaveral. In fact, let me clear you one of these. That's a pretty good amount right there. That's pushing 5-6 inches. Yeah, that's a ton of rain. Most of the area is in this area here where we're seeing basically 2 to 3 inches. Some spots will see a little bit more than that. All right, so that's the forecast, I would say, for Citrus and Hernando, about 2 to 3 inches. South of there would be less. We do have a flood advisory to get just north of Citrus County at this time. We also have that flood watch I was talking about until 11 o'clock. Does not include Sarasota, Hardy, and Highlands. Everybody else, or excuse me, DeSoto and Highlands. Everybody else has it. You really need to be watching it if you're Hernando, Citrus, Sumter, and into northern Pasco County. And again, I don't think that's going to be terrible. But keep in mind, even south of there, where we get some slow-moving storms, we can get some heavy downpours. Let's talk wind. This is not a wind maker. This is not a storm surge maker either, especially here on the West Coast. There's a little bit of wind up there on the northeast coast. Jacksonville sustained at 14, gusts generally in the 20s. Daytona is about the same. But this thing is on land right now. It's going to weaken. If anything, if it tries, it's going to try and do it out over here. But now the models are suggesting, because it's so far to the north, it may end up kind of staying over land and weakening. So here are those models. And I know you see some of these lower ones here, but they didn't start at the right spot. Look at the ones that started up here where it is. And follow that pink line right there. That's hugging the coast quite a bit. Some of them even have it on the coast. So that is going to really limit any chance of it getting stronger and Dexter forming. That's the next name on the list if we get a tropical storm. What you see down here, this is not likely to happen. So Louisiana's been watching it. I mean, we definitely still need to keep watching it. But at this point, that jog to the north, if it is going to try and organize around that center, that's going to put it a little too close to land, and I think it's going to make it really tough to form. This curve, by the way, this extra moisture coming up here, that would likely be somewhere over in this area as well. Okay, maybe a little bit sooner than that. And we're just talking moisture at that point. So here's our forecast model. Just ready to run out of time here, but I want to show you that. This is 11 o'clock tonight. Look at centers. It's offshore. Okay, our rain, we have some showers and storms through about 10 o'clock or so. Most of the rain will fall apart after that. Tomorrow morning we'll wake up dry, but watch what happens over Tampa. See it coming in from the south? Kind of some fast